Firemole is just one of a number of startups I'm going to feature on Red Business in the next few weeks. And if you want to tell us about your next big thing, don't forget you can drop me an email at any time to redbusiness@redfm.ie. And we'll stay with startups for this week's top 5. DC Cahalane has been involved in a fair few. Cue Top of the Pops music and the top 5 tips for people starting out in business. At 5.
When you start off a business, you can get massively excited about the whole thing. You need to actually take the time to sit down and plan out where you're going to go with it, because otherwise the adrenaline will just keep you going, but you won't actually be heading in any direction.
At 4.
You need to always be conscious of cash flow. There's a huge difference between the spreadsheet that you put together with money in and money out and how much money you actually have available right at that time. The thing that kills 90% of startups is running out of money even when they have money owed to them.
3.
I think you need to think very carefully about your marketing. A lot of people run very quickly towards Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat and all this, but what they don't do is they don't know what they're trying to achieve out of it. So you need to come up with what it is you want your social media to do for you before you actually start acting on it.
At 2.
Business is all about people. It's all about relationships. Email should be the last resort, not the first port of call. You should try to get somebody on the phone or get time with them face to face first, and if that can't work, then email them.
And the number 1 top tip for people starting out.
I think the most important thing to remember when you're an entrepreneur is that you're not doing it. You're not the only one doing this. There is so much help out there available to you, and in particular, in Cork, we love helping each other out. So you're not discovering problems for the first time. So as an entrepreneur, you have to be brave enough to approach people and kind of say, listen, you've been here before, you've had this problem. Can you give me a bit of advice on it?
DC is an all-round good egg who is actually in his own startup phase with Republic of Work. You might have heard a little bit about it. It's a shared workspace on the South Mall. Coffee on tap, lots of meeting space and lots of companies at various stages of development within its walls. DC thinks co-working is the perfect environment for startups.
There's an awful danger that if you start a business and you look at the we'll work from home because it'll be cheap thing. And you know what the thing about working from home is? There's an infinite amount of distractions. And they're not just because you can Facebook in your pajamas and stuff like that. There's just an awful lot going on in a home environment. Whereas when you come, it's that very thing of, if you have to make the decision to get up in the morning and come to work either in your own office or in somewhere like Republic of Work, that's half the battle starting off. And then when you get in here, I think the very nature of that you're in here with other people, it's a great motivator. You're seeing how other people are progressing their businesses. And, it gives you that little kind of little bit of a push to kind of go, God, that guy came in here the same time as me. He's just added a new employee. You know what I mean? Where am I going with my business?
The co-working idea is a new one to Ireland, but it's happened in other countries, particularly the States before. In fact, it's big business over there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's huge business. But it is. Co-working is around 10, 12 years at this stage. But it started, a lot of it actually started in the kind of artistic world where it was, a bunch of artists who couldn't afford a space got together, basically, just got a space and split the bills 5 ways or whatever between the 5 of them. But co-working, if you look at the last 3 or 4 years, we're into one of these hyper growth periods where every year the number of spaces worldwide is doubling and tripling and quadrupling. The biggest player in the world, a company called WeWork, who have 140 spaces worldwide, they've built them all since 2010, and they have a market cap now of, I think, about 22 billion. I was reading last night that they're announcing that by the end of the year, they'll double their number of spaces. And they're, we're kind of 20,000 square foot here. Their smallest space worldwide is about 70,000 square foot.
Okay.
Big business, yeah.
Are you going to see more of this? Do you think that there's going to be more Republic of Work or indeed competitor businesses here in the years to come?
I do, because I think you see the seed change. A lot of people look at co-working spaces and they think startups, but the actual seed change is happening right at the top in that big corporations, they're starting to build all their business now around the ability to be able to scale rapidly. And if you're a big operation like IBM, KPMG, Microsoft, who are all big proponents of co-working, the big challenge for them is if they decide tomorrow that they want to open a radio station, They need to be able to kind of get 100 staff together very quickly, kind of run an experiment for 6 months on whether it works, and then ideally, if it doesn't work, shut it down. And the great thing about somewhere like co-working spaces is they know what the real estate cost for them is. Whereas if they had to go do it themselves, suddenly they're into long-term leases, they're into paying electricity bills, they're into paying Wi-Fi bills and all that sort of stuff.
Red Business with Jonathan Healy. Teams work better when you simplify the game. Search Vodafone One Net Business today.